Did you know every year 1.8 million students graduate with their bachelor's degree? But how many of them actually are getting jobs? Between May and September 2016, national career matchmaking firm GradStaff conducted a study of entry level job seekers. They found that recent college grads had inefficient career preparation. Nearly 70% of respondents were either unemployed or working in non professional jobs. That means 3 out of 10 people in this room will have full time professional jobs after graduation. Let's apply this statistic nationally. That would mean just over 1 million students that have graduated this year will be in that category of not having a full time professional job after graduation. But don't let that statistic scare you. Today, we're going to cover how best to ensure that you get that job of your dreams. Some topics we'll be covering include resume writing, interview preparation, what to do during and after the interview.
So, first, we're going to talk about resumes, why it's important to have one, and how to construct a good one. Why is it important to have a good resume? Resumes tend to be the first impression for potential employers. It is basically your ticket for an interview. But keep in mind that employers only spend about a few seconds looking at each resume. What should be included in a resume? A resume should always include contact information. This could include a professional email address, a phone number, your home address, and of course your name. It should also include an objective or a summary. This portion of the resume will tell the potential employer what your goals are. A resume should also include your education. Here you would include your whole educational background. If you're in college or just graduated, it's also a good idea to include your GPA. Experiences and responsibilities should also be included in your resume. Here you would list any relevant work experience or volunteer work. You should also list important responsibilities that you performed at each position. Lastly, you should include any skills that would be relevant to the position you're applying for. This could include any certifications, technical skills, etc. When constructing a resume, do keep it updated. Avoid an outdated employment that would no longer be considered relevant. Customize your resume every time. Make sure you customize your resume according to the position you're applying for. Make sure to use simple font. It has to be professional and legible. Lastly, make sure to use keywords from job descriptions to show the employer that you took the time to read the job description. Don't guess the dates. You can always call up your past institutions and employers to find any of the dates you need. A month and a year will suffice. Avoid using first-person pronouns, like I and me. Don't overstuff with keywords. Using keywords is important, but if you overdo it, it will make the employer feel like you may not have those skills after all. Lastly, don't include your GPA if it's too low. It could actually hurt your chances of employment. Include a GPA if it is a 3.0 or higher. Here's an example of a bad resume. As you can see, this resume is very scattered. He has too much contact information, too much personal and irrelevant information, a table, and a header. Also, why would he include a photo? That's just nonsense. This is an example of a good resume. She has all her contact information at the top. She lists her education and employment in chronological order, and the resume is organized with a professional font. Here are the best words to use on a resume. You should use words like achieved, trained/mentored, managed, improved, and created. These words show the employer that you made a difference in the position you worked at. Lastly, don't forget, companies are looking for reasons to exclude you, not include you. You should always try to keep your resume as flawless as possible. And lastly, a good resume will show the employer that you either improved, reduced, or solved something. Good luck, guys. You can do it.
The interview starts before you even get through the doors of the company. You want to make sure that you research them and understand their values, mission statements, and goals. Values and mission statements are typically on their website, and if you're lucky, you might even find some of their core competencies which you would love to display during the interview. Also, if you're trying to find their goals and they're not on the website, you might find them in a 10K report just by simply typing in the company's name and 10K report on any search bar. Think through some of the questions that are commonly asked. It's good to think about tasks that you've previously had in your experiences and how you came to those solutions. Questions typically revolve around behavioral or situational questions. Make sure that you focus on those outcomes, and companies love to hear that you collaborated with a team. Next, having your references on hand. It is so important you leverage your network. At any time, you might be asked who they can reach out to make sure that you actually have all that experience. When you have a paper with those references, you're ready to go. A big one that many people forget about is preparing your own questions. We've all been in interviews where we're asked at the end, "Do you have any questions?" And we stare blankly at our interviewer. You don't want to be that person. Make sure that you prepare those questions beforehand and that they relate to the position in which you are interviewing for. And most importantly, don't forget what you learned right here at Rutgers. For a training and development role, you might want to review some of the lessons that you've learned here in our class so that you can share that knowledge with the interviewer about what you know about the field. Do these things prior to the interview, and you'll be ready to go.
Hello, my name is Miles Townsend.
Hi, I'm Jess. Nice to meet you. Please come on in.
Oh, why?
Okay, Miles, first question. Tell me what you know about our company.
Oh, well, I know it's a big, well-known company, and it's really close to my house. I know it involves some kind of software, but I was hoping to get some kind of hands-on training.
Okay, that could be arranged. Okay, Miles, next question. As a potential training manager, tell me about a time when you had to train someone to do something.
This one time, I taught my little brother how to tie his shoes.
Right. Okay, but I'm actually looking for training in a professional environment. Could you please?
Well, this one time I had a training development project.
Oh, okay, I'll accept it. Thank you. Okay, Miles, last question. What are your weaknesses for me?
Some people told me I'm too confident.
Why would that be considered a weakness?
I don't like having my work double-checked.
Okay, great. Well, you know what, Miles? It was a pleasure to meet you. Have a good one, all right? Take
Hello. I'm going to be discussing some important behaviors for during the interview process. Some of these might seem rather intuitive, but they're important to know nonetheless. First things first, arrive early. Dress appropriately and stay professional at all times. Be polite and respectful to everyone you meet in the building. Turn off your phone and even leave it in your car to avoid distraction. When you meet the interviewer, shake their hand and maintain eye contact. Try to eliminate placeholder words such as like or and keep an open body language. Don't cross your arms in front of your chest. For the training and development field, refer to the importance of ROI. Your interviewer might take that as an opportunity to jump on you and ask, "What do you mean by ROI?" Don't give a complicated answer. Just say it answers the question, "Is it worth it?" Know the business strategy going into the interview. Be able to demonstrate to the interviewer that you can apply the business strategy to your particular training and development field. Some common questions the interviewer might ask are as follows. Tell me about a time when you were in a leadership position, or when you failed, or when you needed help. These questions are rather straightforward. Just answer them honestly. What has been your greatest work accomplishment? Use this as an opportunity to discuss your work ethic and try to talk about a time you succeeded in a group. Some trickier questions might be, what are your weaknesses? It's important to be honest here. Don't give some canned answer like, I'm a perfectionist, because that's not what the interviewer is looking for. Talk about a time where you made mistakes, but you learned from them and grew. Why did you leave your last job? Again, it's important to be honest and forthcoming. End on a positive note and talk about how you're looking forward to working for this company. What type of boss are you looking for? Now, this isn't an opportunity to vent about past bosses. what you're going to want to do is talk about how you want a boss that interacts with the employees and accepts feedback. Now, we're going to be looking at some mock interviews for the do's and don'ts of the interview process in the training and development field.
Hey, nice to meet you. My name's Tom.
Hi, Tom. My name's Jess. It's very nice to meet you. Please come on in.
Thank you. I brought in a more updated version of my resume for you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. It's very impressive. All right, Thomas. So first, tell me what you know about our company.
Well, I know you've been operating for about 15 years as a private entity and that you're looking to increase your annual recurring revenue. I believe that with my experience in training and development that I can help you reach that goal.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, Thomas, next question. As a potential training manager, tell me about a time when you had to train someone to do something.
Well, although I don't have a vast amount of experience in training and development, I did do a training and development project during my time at Rutgers. While there, with a team of 5 people, we created a training on how to interview for a training and development job for 60 individuals.
Perfect. Okay, Thomas, last question. What are your weaknesses?
I think one of the real weaknesses I face, it has to do with time management. Many times when we're building out projects in training and development and focused on instructional design, we need to get feedback from the managers in order to understand what gaps we have. Unfortunately, sometimes these managers don't foresee what we're doing in HR as a priority and rather what's going on in the business. So trying to build that extra time into our project timeline is something that I have a struggle of gauging.
All right, Thomas, that was a very impressive interview. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Following the interview phase, the candidate now enters the post-interview process. First in the process is sending a thank you email. The thank you email is extremely crucial. Sending a thank you email not only shows good manners, but also puts your name in front of people for the last time and leaves a positive impression. In addition, the thank you email allows you to sell yourself as a candidate and can highlight the way your skills and experiences are a good match for the position. Here is an example of a good thank you email. Next is following up. If you do not hear back from the recruiter within a week, do not worry. After 2 weeks, reach out to the recruiter with a follow-up email. Start by saying who you are, the training and development position you applied for, and when you met. You can also mention anything you forgot to say during the interview. Finally, prepare for negotiating after you receive an offer. Know your minimums, priorities, and consider the entire package. Here is a small list of different things to consider while negotiating. Tuition reimbursement, additional vacation time, flexibility in work schedule and ability to work from home, guaranteed bonuses, healthcare options, and the proximity of work from your house. Lastly, it is important to know that a reasonable negotiating goal may be 5 to 10% above the initial offer.
Now that you've learned what to do prior to an interview, during an interview, and after an interview, you're ready to get that training and development role. Remember, a good candidate always remains professional in appearance, etiquette, and speech. Research the company. Not only will it show initiative, but it'll help to give you an upper hand against the competition, especially if they haven't done any research themselves. Make sure that you keep a list of questions prepared. This is important so that you don't end up as the person at the end of the interview who stares blankly at the interviewer after they ask, "Do you have any questions?" And focus on giving examples. Show that you can solve problems and think critically to come to a solution. Companies love people that can figure out their problems. And use key phrases such as ROI. Again, a timeless question that companies are trying to answer. You want to tell them you're the person who can figure out, is it worth it? Asking about compensation prior to an offer being on the table is sometimes seen as inappropriate and should really wait until later when you receive the offer. Feel free to negotiate at that point. However, an interviewer may bring that up. In that case, that would be the point in which you want to talk about compensation. But just like your marital status, disabilities, religion, and a whole list of other things, if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, then don't. Especially if they ask what your prior compensation was before interviewing with their company. And don't forget to use your training and development project as a great example about what you bring to the human resources team.